All right, welcome back into Indie B&B. Today, I have the pleasure of somebody from the Tar Heel State joining us, Patrick Mawn, aka Patrick Strums. Patrick, how are things up there?
They're good. And I got to put the disclaimer, I'm a Boston boy. I've been down in Charlotte for about 20 years. So, and if you hear me talk enough, you're going to know that. But yeah, I'm repping North Carolina. I've been here half my life now almost, which is hard to believe. So thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. Well, you reached out and we kind of started checking out some of your tunes. We've got a new album out and talk us through. I mean, we've you released it on Bandcamp. What's happening there? What's been going on?
Yeah, so I did an album. It's called Hub of Humanity. And I did it out in Nashville, Tennessee with the guy, Shannon MacArthur. He's from Charlotte as well. He's a great guy. He's as good of a human as he is a producer. And the way that got started was he found me on Instagram and he said, "Hey, I checked out some of your stuff, and we talked a little bit." And he said, "I'd like to do an album with you." And he said, "You want to come out to Nashville and do it?" And so that's what I did. And it's actually been a little over a year since I recorded the album, and it was it was just it was a cool experience working with him and just seeing his process. I've worked with some other good producers too, and everyone's got a different process. And Shannon's pretty spontaneous, and it was just to bring all those songs that you hear on that album to life was a pretty cool thing, because some of them, I wrote a long time ago. So to finally get them, recorded and produced and have a full band, it's really cool.
Nice. Well, how does that kind of come together? You perform things live for so long, and then you finally record it. Do you ever feel like, all right, I need to make sure I have the live element to this because that's what really brings out the song? Or like, do you feel like there's all right, we're gonna do it this way, and I'm gonna lay it down recording this way because I know that it's gonna translate well whenever you play it, out loud.
And I'm still fairly new to the recording process, and it's definitely a different beast. Like my debut single, I Don't Want to Be Sad Anymore. I did that at Catalyst Recording here in Charlotte with this guy, Rob T, who's an awesome producer as well. And to do that song, to play that song's like, it's got strings and synthesizers and a lot of stuff, just like some of the songs on Hub of Humanity. And like, I remember when I did the single, my buddy, Derek Hines, aka DJ H for now, he said that when you play this on stage with just your guitar, you're going to hear the whole like band stuff in your head. And that's true. And so it's different. So like when I play I Don't Want to Be Sad Anymore, and some of the songs on the album don't quite feel that way, but there are also some like there's a song on there, Circle Mumbles Thoughts. And when I first wrote it and used to play it out, it was a slow song. And then when I was out in Nashville the night before we were doing a song a day. We did 5 songs in 5 days. It was really kind of boom, boom, boom. And the night before, I was playing with the BPM and just playing with the metronome and stuff and the pace. And all of a sudden, I turned it into a really fast song. And when I went into the studio, Shannon was like, this sounds like Paint It Black. And the drummer, this guy Nate Barnes, who's a great session drummer, he did all the drums on the first 5 tracks on the album. And I should say that the first 5 tracks, and it says that, it notes that in the notes as well, those are all done with Shannon. And then my single was included as a bonus, which was done here in Charlotte. And then there's an original version of Circles Mumbles Thoughts that I'm talking about, the slower version, so you can hear the contrast. So it's kind of, for me so far, it's been an evolution process. Like, songs, it's really good to get other ears, like people that you trust that know music, that can give some feedback, and then things can change and evolve. Like the way I look at it, if I bring the project to the table and I'm bringing it with a producer or other musicians who I know and respect, I want to be open to feedback, because the way I look at it, we're all serving. It's not about, I don't care whose idea it is. I just want the song to be as kick-ass as possible.
Yeah.
So, we're all serving the art and serving the song. So I'm open to that evolution process, and also to defer to, I found that there are some things like it's you want to defer to other people's expertise, and then there are things like, no, this is what I want, and you got to stick up for that too, and advocate for that when I know what I want. So it's kind of like it's a mix, if that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, one of the songs, obviously, we want to do our song Spotlight on Sanctuary Seduction. I mean, great song. It really tells a story. And you have kind of the wrap up at the end, which I love, and like I think, talk us through what that creative process was. Was that the Tuesday song or the Wednesday song of the 5 days? What was where was it in the order?
That's a good question. Shoot, I don't remember what day it was. But that Sanctuary Seduction, that's like one of those, my heart got crushed kind of, dig at a relationship, kind of summon some things up, and one of those pain songs. And I wrote it a long time ago. And that's another one that changed and evolved a lot. When I first played that, when I first wrote it, it was like a really like a fast-paced hard rock song, and then it kind of slowed down, and it's still a pretty rocking song. But that's when I play at three different tempos. Sometimes I go balls to the wall and I just knock it out. Sometimes I play it like really slow, and then sometimes I play it the way it's recorded. But that song, yeah, to bring that to life. And Shannon does the lead guitar electric. I did all the acoustic work on the album, and you can hear the way the electric falls in after the intro. It's got a nice little acoustic intro, and then it kind of goes bow. And then once those drums fall in, like Nate's just a kick-ass drummer, and the buildup of that song, like the way the music kind of offsets the story. And we really punched up the vocals on that one, so you can hear. And there was some parts where I'm like, I want this to like really, I want you to punch up this certain word, emphasize certain things in there. And then, like you mentioned, that the outro, and it kind of slows down, and those drums are just, Nate's got the cymbals going, and it's just got this real ambiance. And you can almost, like, when I listen to it, I can picture in my head like a dark, smoky room. Like it's just like the dust is kind of settling, and then it goes into that. There's that little part like someday you'll be alone like me, and then it picks up again into like a little bit of a frenzy, and then it slows down to that outro. So I love the arrangement, that the way it worked out in the studio.
Gotcha. Well, when you play it live, like what's you said you have three different tempos. Do you have like that for a lot of the different songs, or is it just, that one in particular? Because that's kind of interesting to hear, like that there's like, all right, I can come in and have my live set be varied. I can go real fast. I can go, kind of slow. I can see that you can kind of read the room and understand what the cadence is. But, more often than not, are you doing that, like in kind of varying it just to kind of keep it fresh for yourself, or?
Yeah, to keep it fresh for me and keep it fresh for the audience, and what you just said, just kind of get a feel for the room and the energy. And I do think it's, especially when it's just a guy and a guitar, that you can get pretty stagnant. Like you got to mix up the tempos, and like I really try to work on my set lists, and I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm really kind of broadening my horizons. Like I got a big show coming up at the Rooster in Gastonia in February, and I'm going to start doing some loops, and I'm doing some more kind of like hip hop stuff, and I'm going to bring some electric stuff in, and also teaming up with other musicians more. And I'm even looking at putting a band together. So I'm kicking a lot of stuff around. But for now, when it's just me, my guitar, I play some songs on electric, like say Sanctuary Seduction. Sometimes I do that with electric. Sometimes I do it acoustic. And I have some songs that are pretty straightforward, but I go by feel. Like I'm a
Yeah.
self-taught musician. I have great intuition. Like I have that natural gift. Like I always tell people I have the ear and the head for music, but I don't have the hands. Like I'm not a naturally gifted guitar player. I've really had to bust my ass to be, a competent guitar player. And like producing, I have the ear for it, but I need other people to be working the machinery. And I'm not tech savvy and stuff. So when I'm really all about collaborating in that aspect of it. But I go by feel and how, like, what I'm feeling in that moment. And sometimes, and also, and I talk to a lot of musicians that kind of struggle when you're on stage, especially when it's just you, but even in a band setting, it's easy to go really fast. You got a lot of adrenaline
Yeah.
going, you're excited. So I really try to be mindful to not go too fast, because then you kind of lose. And, the thing is, Grant, like everything in life has a rhythm. Like there's a nature, there's a rhythm. And if your rhythm is too fast or too slow, it's just going to go over people's heads, or it's just going to go around them. So you really have to have that nice pace that's going to hit people. So that's something that, I got to be mindful of, especially when I'm live. In the studio, it's easier because you might have a metronome or you have somebody. I don't know. I just, when I'm in the studio, I just kind of lock in, and I'm more focused on that. But when I'm on stage, it's live. You got that energy, and
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with your live set, like what's the mix? Is it mainly originals or 100% originals or no covers or anything like that? Or what's the mix on the set list there?
Yeah, I'll mix in a few cover songs here and there, and it depends. Like some venues are like, don't do any covers, and then I won't. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of
Yeah.
material, and I'm working on a lot of new stuff too, so I don't have a problem, playing an hour and a half original music. I got that.
Yeah.
But I do work in a few. Like one, I just did my first tour. I finished that, and the song I was playing on that was Bob Seger's "Turn the Page," because it was really kind of
Mhm.
apropos that life on the road. It's just me, and it's kind of lonely. So I thought that song really, and that's one that just really I was feeling. And then another thing, like I said, I'm just really kind of playing with things, like, trying to be authentic and just experiment with stuff that I like to do. So I
Yeah.
started doing some hip hop. I did a cover of Jizz's Liquid Swords, like when the MCs came to live out the name, and people ate it up. Like people loved it. It makes white people feel cool to be listening to hip hop. It really is, like old people, young people, because I think music people like young people want to feel more mature, older people want to feel young, or we
Yeah.
live vicariously through music. It's such a form of expression, whether you create it or, like you even said, like you're doing what you're doing because you love music. So
Yeah.
it's something that connects us all. And I just try to really expand my, like, mix it up and not play stuff that is just kind of like the same pacing. I really just want to keep it interesting. And for me, I consider myself a storyteller first and foremost. Like
Yeah.
that's what I hang my hat on. Like that's the thing I know that I'm really good at, is telling a story. The other stuff is, that's subjective, and I guess it's all subjective. But I believe personally, it's about the
Yeah.
story. But it's also all the other stuff too. You got to have a lot of stuff going on there, like the music, the tempo, and the chords, and it all has to flow together.
Gotcha. Well, how many dates did you play this year? What was the some of the the highlights there on the tour?
On the tour, touring was awesome. It was on the tour. I think I did about 20 shows. I did
Wow.
two runs. I went up north all the way up to Eastport, Maine. That was as far as I went up that way. And then I did some in the south, like Georgia, up in Tennessee, down to Charleston, where I think some people. Like I did a little bit down there. So and it was just, I write, I do this for me because I love it, but it's also about the connection. Like I'm here talking to you, talking to a really cool person, talking about stuff that we both love,
Yeah.
and it's a connection. So that's why I do it. And going on tour, I got to really just meet and connect to some cool people, and learn. Just be like, I look at this like in life in general, but especially with the music. Like I'm in the classroom. Like Ernest
Yeah.
Hemingway said, we're all apprentices at a craft which none will ever master. And I always believe in, like, I'm from Boston, so I'm a big Tom Brady fan, and I know a lot of people knock that guy, but like his friend said, the thing that's great about Tom Brady is he's obsessed with constantly improving his flaws. He stayed great for so long because he didn't rest on his laurels. He was always trying to get better and
Yep.
work on things. Like, when he lost some arm strength, he worked on his accuracy. And like, I believe I can always be getting better as a human. Like that's my goal, but especially in music, to be honing my craft. And you know,
Yeah.
so
Definitely. Well, what people, on the tour kind of stuck out as like, some of the best connections you made, anybody
mm,
specific that kind of sticks out that you're like, man, that is the guy or that is the lady or they or them or whoever.
I feel like I'd be doing a disservice. Like there's so many. I did a show in Boston, my hometown. That was my first time playing in my hometown. That was really cool. And I played with three other local artists. An act called Doll Ship. I think it was an artist called a band what you're on, and then an artist Who I Am, and she runs a podcast, and I did a podcast interview with her, connected there. So that was cool to connect to some people from my home state. And then I was in Flemington, New Jersey, a place called Flemington DIY, and a woman named Roya. give a shout out to her. She's been in the music world for a long time, and she gave me some technical tips. And you were asking about like tempo and stuff. Like I wrote this kind of scathing song about an ex. It was really kind of like a Alanis Morissette, "You Ought to Know." It was just kind of like one of those like screw you songs, and it was really like fast paced. And I played it for just her at the end of the night, and she's like, I really like that song, but slow it. And I don't know, can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course. Of
And
course.
she's like, slow it the fuck down. She's like, make it real slow, like a dirge. And I'm like, but it's like this, it's all about the like, and she said, you can still do that. She goes, those lyrics, those words, like just really emphasize it and hit it. And it was me, her, and this other girl that worked there as well. I can't think of her name right now, but she was cool. And so I really just slowed it down. And then she got on the piano and was playing along, and it changed everything. And like the other girls, like, oh my God, I wanted to cry. It was so powerful. And I felt it. And it was like the spiritual thing. And it showed me like kind of back to what we were talking about earlier, like I can really change up the tempos and pacings and like and so she was really cool to stay on task here with like who are the people on the tour. She was one of I met so many people. Like I connected to a lot of small business owners,
Yeah.
and like I'd go into like just shops and coffee shops and like jewelry stores and just meeting locals and connecting to the communities in some of these places. Some of them were more city, some of them were rural. And I just met some really cool people that are people that were like doing their thing. Like you're doing your thing right here. People just doing stuff
Yeah.
they love and not being like, part of the corporate machine. Like teach their own. We can all be a part of that. But like just people that were taking those risks to go
Yeah.
for, the things they love. So it wasn't just music. It was also just connecting to some people, local business owners, and just, getting like a feel for some of these communities.
Yeah. What any places stick out to you in particular, like that were like this was the prettiest place that I went to? I mean, obviously Charleston's gorgeous, but I mean, let's take out of the the South. Like, give me a
Yeah.
Bridgeport, Maine, or somewhere like that where you're like, man, this is I'm glad to be here, and I'm this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yeah, there were a few. Eastport, Maine was cool,
Yeah.
but it was like that. There was a lot of woods, like hours of woods. Like I rented a van and I was sleeping in the van most nights. And that was one night I really wanted to get in a hotel. Only there were I mean, there was nothing for like 2 hours. I didn't know that. It was kind of creepy. I slept in my van, like kind of like Chris Farley, if you're old enough to remember Saturday Night
In a
Live.
van down by the
Down by the
river.
river. I literally was down by the river in a freaking van, and it was freezing out, but it was cool. Uh, Portland, Maine. I played Portland, Maine. Where did I play? I got some of my dates up here at the Thirsty Pig in Portland, Maine. That was cool, right on the waterfront downtown there. And I'm trying to remember. I got to look at these places to like kind of jog my memory. Like Eastport, Maine, the Eastport Arts Center. That was probably like the coolest venue. It was built in like the late 1800s. It was really historic. It was just a cool spot to be in, and it was really cool to just kind of see my name on the big billboard out front, like, and it's just like this old, like I'm a big history fan, so
Yeah.
that was cool. And that downtown on the water was pretty. And where else here? I'm trying to look at, honestly, like a lot of the venues were kind of like downtown, and I'd see stuff when I kind of like driving between places where I really saw like a lot of
Yeah.
nature. And one kind of fallback to touring is when you got to be somewhere. I didn't have a lot of time to like stop and smell the roses unless I was in a spot. So it was really kind of a lot of downtowns. But yeah, hopefully that it's just there was.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
being honest. There wasn't like a place that I saw that like was breathtaking.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm looking at Turner Falls. I played at a place called the Rendezvous, and that Turner Falls was a cool. It's I think it's kind of like an old in industrial town, and it was like right on the water, and there was just a lot of cool bridges and rivers and streams. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to go out and explore a lot because it's like I got to get to the next place.
Yeah, you were on the clock. I get it. What within the time you were on the road, I mean, do you think that this tour is going to feed into, the writing process as you kind of get into, the next couple months here? I know you got a big tour, you get another couple bunch of dates coming up, but is that part of it going to be, are we going to get a song called Roya? Are we talking about the piano and slowing the fuck down or what? I mean, we gotta.
Well, I'm definitely, I'm gonna give her a shout out, but it's interesting because my process is like right now I'm working on a concept album, and my process of writing has always been kind of like I'll have a couple of songs knocking around in my head and partial lyrics, and I got stuff written down, and then it just kind of comes together, and I finish a song, and then I finish another one. But as I've become a better musician and learned how to play guitar better and different tunings and using capos and stuff, and now I'm writing all this music, so now I have like 10 or 15
Mhm.
songs, like like a shell of a song or a rough draft, and now I got to write the lyrics afterwards, which is not normally my process, and it's actually more difficult for me to, like, I have all this music that sounds really cool, and now I got to write the lyrics, and that's not, hasn't been my process. So I do have a lot of new material, but also, Grant, as I continue to grow and evolve as a person, it reflects in my music. So there's different themes. Like, some of my older stuff was more about like relationships and breakups and pain. And, that'll always be part of the package. I think like I really try to show the whole, like my album's called Hub of Humanity. And I really want to like, part of the reason it's called that was because I think music is a hub that just brings us all together as humans, but also to reflect like being human means there's a spectrum of feelings and emotions. So
Yeah.
I try to capture all of that. And the stuff I'm doing now, and some of it, I don't think any of it was really like inspired by the tour, but while I was on the road and had time to stop, I was playing and coming up with some new stuff. And and obviously, like I said, that one song, which I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but I know when I play it live at my next show, I'm going to be playing it probably the slow way and just
Yeah,
see how that feels. But
for sure.
yeah.
Very good. Well, very good. Well, I mean, what are the dates coming up? I mean, you mentioned Roosters in February. Is there anything coming before that? I mean, what's on the horizon for you in the calendar coming up?
That's my next thing. Now I'm kind of like right now I'm focused on doing local stuff, and I'm really
Mhm.
trying to build a community of, I'm trying to like put shows together with other artists that are really diverse, because I think everything's becoming so streamlined now, like both as an artist and with like a lot of things in life in general. It's like you have to be the specific, narrow focus. And I'm like, I think that's doing people a disservice.
Sure.
Like some people just want to go see like, a punk rock or a heavy metal show or something that's really extreme country or something, like that's their niche, that's their thing. But and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But not everyone wants to like bang their heads for 3 hours or see a guy just, a bunch of people playing their guitar. So I'm trying to like put together shows and collaborate with my community here in Charlotte. And I've been really collaborating and networking with some talented people that are kind of down for this. And I'm talking to fans of music like yourself. I'd like, what do you think? Would you like to go see a show that's kind of like more like, I don't think you can have extreme, like you're not gonna have like gangster rap and death metal, but you can have like hip hop and R&B, and then some singer songwriter, and then some hard rock, and kind of have it all flow together.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a place for that. Like, Tash and I talk about one of our artists that we've interviewed, Caroline Kingsbury, and the time weeks that she came down here to Atlanta, she was sandwiched between a band that we also interviewed. Oh my God, I'm blanking on their name. Heavy metal artists here in Atlanta, two guys in a band. Like, I mean, hardcore. Then you have Caroline, who's really like a 80s synth pop, really really different kind of sound. And then you have the headlining band, which was another heavy metal band. And I was like, I looked at Tash. I was like, Tash, we're at a metal show. He's like, no, we're not. I'm like, it's Caroline's show. I'm like, no, we're at a metal show that Caroline's playing at. And I thought, she had a great audience reception. Even the metalhead people who were there were like, oh my gosh, this is something different. And so I think like there is definitely a place for having a little bit more variety. I mean, they used to have those variety shows all the time back in the day, on TV.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's something to be said about having some variety within the genre. Not going like I said, you can't singer songwriter death metal, that'll be too much. But I think like you can keep within a few hundred BPMs. I think you're in the right range there for sure.
Yeah, and like, when I was starting out, I was kind of like I'd open up for, it was me, and then it was like three like hardcore punk acts, and I just,
Mhm.
and people like my stuff, but I was watching like a Woodstock documentary, and like the first day of Woodstock, I mean, they do these festivals for 2 or 3 days, but the first day was more the singer songwriters, and then the people that showed up for day two, they were the people that want to rock out. So there is like the next show I'm doing in February. There's this guy Pete from Home for the Day is the name of his band, and he's going to be doing an acoustic set, and then there's going to be me doing my thing, and then there's a band called Oh You Pretty Things, and then there's another band called True Lilith, and they're more like hard rock, so it's going to kind of build up slowly,
Yeah.
and I think that's really cool. And so back to your original question, like a little sidetrack, but like for me, so I'm trying to put these kind of shows together, and I'm looking at putting a festival together. And I'm also going to be jumping into your game. I'm going to be starting up a podcast and a TV show at a local public access station. And yeah, like one of them is going to be kind of focused on not music stuff so much as wellness and community and self-empowerment and stuff. And then I'm going to have a music show where I'll just like probably be having local artists come on and just jamming and talking about music like we are right now. And so I
Love it.
got I got an album I'm working on. I got some local shows. I got this festival thing I'm trying to put together, and I got a podcast and a TV show coming up. So it's pretty dope, and it's a lot, and it never, nothing, I can't control some things, it's like, I just gotta kind of do, I feel like I'm fumbling around in the dark a lot, and just kind of, and there's a lot of new stuff too. So I'm just, again, trying to learn, stay organized, and do what's right in front of me. And but it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like that's awesome. Anytime I think about public access shows, I think I mean, obviously Wayne's World comes to mind, but like, it's like you're getting in front of, folks that are local in your community and being able to, do it, send a message of empowerment and also, some tunes. I mean, I think that is all good and all gravy. Well, speaking of a little bit of a segmented, part of this show, obviously we're going to run to Pete Peterson's party pack of questions here.
All right, let's do it.
Patrick, are you ready? It's going to be quick and fast, and we're going to get right through it. So
All
if
right,
you're
let's knock
ready,
it
we're
out.
ready. Here we go. All right. Pete Peterson's party pack of questions, 20 questions right in a row, and it starts right now. Cake or pie?
Uh, Ooh, that's a tough one. Depends on I'd say pie.
He's going pie. All right. Salad or soup?
Soup.
He's souping. It's cold there. Are you a prisoner of the moment with the soup?
Yeah, I'm influenced by the weather right now.
I
Maybe
got
in
it.
the
I
summer
got it.
I'd go with like a light salad, but no.
All right. When you were on the road, what did you appreciate more, the sunrises or the sunsets?
Um, Sunrises. I was playing at sunset usually.
I like it. I like it. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
Hit a home run.
Home run. He's taking one over the green monster. Let's go.
I was always a doubles hitter, and I had warning track power, as they said. So home runs were elusive.
I love it. I love it. Night in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
More of nights in.
I like it. I like it. When you do go out though, and you have your jam comes on, are you more likely to do the robot or the worm as your dance move?
That yeah, it depends on what song it is. Either one, I could do that. Or the helicopter. Actually, I have this thing. I do this thing with an imaginary ball. Where you throw this ball up, and it's like it's the way to dance to like house and techno music. You just kind of pretend you got a ball on your shoulders, and then you just. I'm not
I
gonna.
like that. I like that. I've played around with the energy ball a little bit in my day, but I haven't bounced it
Yeah,
up and down. I like that. Let's
yeah.
go.
I'll show you some dance moves after my camera's not rolling.
Guac or queso when you head out to a Mexican spot?
Guac,
He's guacking. All right. Waffles or pancakes?
waffles.
All
Oh,
right. I like it. Coffee or tea with your waffles?
tea. I'm drinking tea right now.
He's a tea guy. All
Tea.
right. All right. Dogs or cats? What do you prefer?
Both. I was always a dog person, and then when I got older, I appreciate cats more because you kind of earn their love and affection.
I like it. I like it. Ninja or a pirate? What do you more identify with?
Ninja. Yeah, well, I guess I identify. I'm probably more of a pirate, but
Yeah.
I think ninjas are cooler.
Yeah. Okay.
Stealth.
Gatorade or Powerade? We're not sponsored by either, but we just we like to ask a question.
Either one, as long as it's zero. I try to stay away from all the crap they put in some of that
All
stuff.
right, he's got a little zero action. I like it. Toast or bagels?
Bagels.
All right. All right. Chips or pretzels?
Chips.
All right. Fries or tots?
Tots. Well, no, I mean, if it's a good French fry, yeah, I'll go with the French fry. But tots are usually a safer bet if I don't know. But again, caveat here, folks. I try to eat healthy, but these are all when I'm indulging.
Hey, hey, win and row, win and row, win and row.
Yeah, exactly.
TV show or movie? What are you sitting down to unwind with? A TV show or a movie?
I've always been more of a movie person, but I find like movies are kind of getting stale now. They're like that cookie cutter Hollywood arc. So I appreciate a good original story, but also my time is limited. So
Yeah,
like now I'm more apt to watch a TV show as long as I don't fall into like the binge watch. Now I got to watch all 78 episodes.
I got you. I got you. Are aliens real?
Are aliens real? I do. I think it's, as I've heard said before, I think it's kind of arrogant to think we're the only like form of life out in the stratosphere, in the, what's the word I'm looking for, the galaxy.
Yeah. Bigfoot, is he real or she?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
I have not convinced. I think everything I've seen so far seems like people in costumes. So
Yeah, and they're always really,
that's my take.
they're always so grainy, especially now. Like, come on, we got iPhones, we got these
Yeah,
high
I mean, I
quality
can take a
noise
portrait
capture.
mode photo. Come on. Is love at first sight real, Patrick?
Oh, gee, that's a funny question. I think it's real in the moment, but then reality sets it, and it's like, there's a lot more to it than just setting eyes on someone. That's just to be like, there's a reason that, put it this way, I've learned there's a saying that only fools rush in.
I love that. I
Leave it
love that.
at
That's insightful.
that.
And finally, the final question of Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Who are two bands, and I know you've named many since we've been on here, but two bands that you might not have named yet that we ought to check out. We might not know that we should reach out to.
That you guys should reach out to.
Yeah, we might not know them. We haven't heard of them. We should check them out.
Oh God, I'm trying to think that, whenever I'm asked a question like that, I'm put on the spot. I can't think of anything, like, especially when, like, because I have so, like, it was like if you asked me to name like a good movie to check out, like there's so much in my head.
Yeah.
Two bands to check out. There's so many people. I'm trying to think who I've been digging on. I got a punt on that one because A,
Okay.
I don't want to do anyone a disservice, and B, I'm on the spot. I can't.
What about the guys who are the show and the show coming up in at Roosters in February? The bands, can you name those bands again? That way we
Yeah,
got them.
yeah. Well, it's a guy, Pete, and I can't think of his last name right now. He's from Home for the Day. Uh,
Home for the day. All
and
right.
and the other two are Oh You Pretty Things and True Lilith, and they're both really solid bands. They've been, getting some good local pub. Just solid. It's going to be really cool to share the stage with them. One of the, I think, don't quote, I think Oh You Pretty Things got like best new band in Charlotte from QC Nerve, which is kind of a big publication out here, and True Lilith, I think they got like the best song of the year. Don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
I know they both got some accolades, and they're just
Yeah.
solid acts, and from what I interacting with them, they're just like really cool people, and that's important to me too. Is just like, people that are fun to work with and have good energy and a good attitude and want to work hard. And that's all those people that I'm doing that show with have that. And the Rooster is a really cool place that supports local music too. So I'm excited for all of that.
Awesome. Well, you can check out Patrick at the Rooster in February. What's the date on that?
February 16th. It's a Friday.
Yeah.
Just 20 minutes outside of Charlotte, and it's going to be a kick-ass show and the first of many more to come in the next year or two.
All right. All right. Well, you can check him out February 16th. Check out the album for Humanity on his Bandcamp. You can check him out at Patrick. Is it patrickstrums.com? Patrickstrums.com?
Yeah, patrickstrums.com and patrickstrums.bandcamp.com
Yeah.
on all the platforms. It's Patrick Strums at
Yep.
YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Check him out. Follow him up. We will appreciate you coming on today, and we look forward to continuing the conversation in the future here. And we'll have to if you ever come down to Atlanta, we'll have to grab a beer for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a drinker, but I'm down
Yeah.
to always down to hang out, and
All right.
I'll probably be in the area, my next door maybe. And I want to say, like I said before we started, thank you for what you're doing on behalf of all indie artists, because people like you that love music and are supporting us, it's huge. And I just want to give you a shout out while the camera's rolling, because we need stuff like this. We're trying to get our shit out there. We're going up against all these platforms that exploit us, and it's pay to play. I don't want to be getting you in trouble by talking smack about some of the stuff, but long story short, we need the community and we need people doing what you're doing. So thank you, and
Yeah.
it's been an honor to be on here. I appreciate
You
it.
got it, man. We'll appreciate that. We appreciate it. All right. Patrick, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, brother. Thanks, man.